Hello my friends, welcome to Together Run 64. I'm excited to begin this run with you today, and we'll start as we always do by touching some element of nature. I am going to actually put my foot in a puddle. Can you hear that? Because water came from rain, which counts as nature. Or at least I'm going to count it that way. Alright, are we ready to begin? 3, 2, and 1. Welcome. If this is your 64th Together Run, I'm excited you are here. I'm excited you are back. If this is your first Together Run, thank you for joining. It's great to have you, and I hope you enjoy this as much as I do and as everyone else who is regular to these does. I want to begin by kind of laying out what we're going to be doing. We always begin with a nature check-in. I always talk for a minute or two, and then we go on to do a body scan, just checking in with the various elements of our body, various parts. Then we do a senses check-in, where we take in our 5 primary senses. And then we go to a mental health check-in. Following that, we just have a bit of a conversation, see where things take us, and some updates that I will have to share of how I'm doing this week or whatever. And for you, that will be an opportunity for you to tell me either a little bit about yourself, if you haven't done one of these before, or what you've been up to, if you have. So there's a 30-minute, a 45 and a 60-minute run. You can choose which one to bow out after. All I ask is that we do strides at those markers, which I'll explain what those are nearer the time. And then you'll be on your way. If you want to share this on social, that is huge for me. And more of your pictures are coming in lately, so thank you so much to those of you who have. And I really appreciate it. And it's so cool to see. Really, really, really love to see where you are, see your experience, hear about what parts spoke to you. So thank you for joining. One last thing before we get into the body scan. What did you think of the Venice Beach Together Run last week? It was maybe a little bit more unorganised on my part than typical group Together Runs. But if you haven't checked that one out, be sure to go and do it. We have quite a few of these full Together Runs coming from different places. And that one was a little more on the scattered end, but very, very powerful. Those of you who listened, I'm sure you will be able to agree. So I would love to hear what you think of that one. And if you haven't listened to it or run with it, go back and run with it, because I know it feels like, well, I wasn't there, I'm going to feel like left out. I think actually you might feel the opposite. Yes, you'll want to come, and it'll make you want to come to a group Together Run if they ever are near you. But I also think I really make an effort to try and bring people in. So I hope that came across. All right, so let's go ahead and do our body scan, which is going to mean I'm going to just kind of meditation almost. We're going to work our way through from our head to our toes, checking in with the various parts of our body, just seeing how we're doing. Just to ground ourselves and see where we're at. Okay, you ready? Starting at the top of your head, working your way down, going into your eyes, making sure they're nice and relaxed. You're not holding any tension or squinting there. Coming down through your nose and into your mouth, making sure that jaw isn't scrunched up and holding tightness. If it is, just gently loosen it. Checking around with the back of your head, going into the back of your neck, coming forward and going into your shoulders. Let's work our way down your arms, the upper arm, around the elbow, into the forearm, and into the wrist, palm, and fingers. Coming back to the main part of your torso, working way down through your chest and into your stomach, going into the hips and pelvis, into your quad and upper legs, front of your legs, round the back to your hamstrings, working way into your back of your knees, coming back around the front to the front of your knee, going into your calf and shin, checking in with that inner ankle and your outer ankle and the heel of your foot, going round underneath to the arch of your foot, over the top of your foot, to the pad, the ball of your foot where you push up, and to your toes. How's everything feeling? For me, as I've mentioned quite a few times, a little bit ache in the ball of my, or the heel of my foot to start with, but otherwise actually surprised I'm feeling okay. I did a hard workout yesterday, so I thought I would be feeling worse. Okay, so in just a minute we'll go on to do our senses check-in. We're going to end with sight, as that's the one we overuse most of the time, and we'll begin by taking a nice deep breath, as deep as you can for running. Let's go ahead and do that, which isn't going to be very deep because you're running. Let's take 2 more this time, and 1 more. Okay, thank you. What do you smell? Smell leaves, dead leaves. What do you taste? I taste toothpaste. Maybe a little of that stale taste still lingering. Okay, next thing I'm going to have you do, if you would like to take out your headphones and listen to your own surroundings, I encourage you to do that, not just yet. But if you would rather just keep your headphones in, just keep in your rhythm and listen to my surroundings, that is okay too. But I'm going to invite you to spend 30 to 45 seconds just checking in. What is it you hear? So let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, thank you for checking in. What did you hear? For me, the birds, it's a lot later in the morning than I normally run, but still early morning. I heard my feet, I heard my breath, and I heard cars. Next, I'm going to ask you to just be in your body, letting your awareness go where it feels right to. Just following your attention to wherever it is drawn through sensations inside or outside your body. So let's go ahead and do that. Be in your body, see where your attention goes. What do you feel? Few more seconds. Okay, what did you feel? What areas of your body was your attention drawn to? I feel like a lot of my attention right now is sitting on my upper arms. The air feels cool against it, and I'm still getting, for months and months of heat, getting used to that feeling again. It's full running time here. Finally, we're going to check in with our sense of sight, our vision. Let your awareness in your eyes go where it feels like it's drawn to. The only thing I ask, as always, is that some part, when you feel particularly drawn to something, you look at the details. Could be something about a tree. Could be a pothole in the road. Could be a detail on a building. Whatever you feel is calling your attention, I just want it to make sure you are noticing something you wouldn't normally hover on for a second or a few seconds enough to notice. Okay, off we go. Few more seconds. Okay, what did you notice? What detail were your eyes drawn to? For me, I was paying attention mostly to, there's a few deeper puddles around here, and just looking at the reflection of the trees in the sky as I went by them. You know, that's something you tend to notice on a big pond or some clear lake or something, but it's not typically something I look at with a with a paddle. So yeah, that's where my eyes were drawn to today. Okay, well, we got through those quickly. Alright, friends, there's nothing wrong with that. You're just maybe on a roll this morning. So now, I'm gonna ask you, how are you? Really? I need to take a few minutes just to think about all the emotions you are going through. I'll share mine in a minute when we're done, but I want you, if you were to tell me if we were together, that would be amazing. But even if you weren't, just checking in with yourself, just understanding that often we have multiple conflicting, contradicting emotions going on inside us at any one point. And that's human life, human nature. So I want you to check in. How are you? Really? If you've wandered off, gently bring yourself back. How are you? Few more seconds. Okay, thank you for checking in. Thank you for being honest with yourself. And if you struggled to be honest with yourself, that's okay too. Sometimes our brains are amazing at protecting us. And if there's some trauma there or some pain there associated with vulnerability, of course that's going to make it difficult to really know how you are, to go beyond that, yeah, good, or yeah, fine. So just a little bit of each together, and you can just maybe dig out a little bit more of asking yourself how you're feeling. For me, okay, I feel like there's a lot going on here today. How am I feeling? My heart hurts. I miss California. I really, really, really love California. I've come to peace in my mind that I'm never gonna live there again. But being back in that area, I just love it. So my heart hurts. And I miss those friends of mine who have been reminded of and spent time with over the last week, this week, whatever you want to call it. And I miss them, and I wish they were closer, and I wish I could be there for them, but I'm not. But still kind of, it's that like tightness in your chest, like in my throat a little bit. I feel that multiple times throughout the day, kind of feel a bit emotional. But I also am so grateful to Steve and the girls. There's so much love there for them. It's been so nice being back with them and getting that time with them and just being close to them. So I'm very thankful and loving towards them. So much joy they bring me in the day-to-day. I'm also feeling a little bit nervous. I'm going to be doing my role Sustainability Activation Coordinator at the Chicago Marathon in a few weeks, less than a few weeks. As you're listening to this, probably leaving in about a week. And, that I'm nervous for how I'm going to do. I feel like there's a lot that could come out of this if I really do my best and pay attention. So I'm hoping I'm able to take up this opportunity. But that's like a good nervous. Like I kind of feel like I'm fit enough for the race. Just getting to that point where the questioning comes in. I also feel, what else do I feel? I feel like there's just a lot going on. I feel excited for what we're doing at Running for Real and a little bit apprehensive. And I'll tell you more about that in a little bit. I guess finally I feel connected to you. Feel love and appreciation for you for being out here with me now, even though I'm recording this ahead of time. I can feel you with me. As I said, when you send me your pictures or you upload a post to social media, that makes my heart so full, and getting to see what you see and getting to see you out there doing it, it really is so good. So thank you. I love these together runs, and it makes me feel so good to know that you're out here next to me enjoying it too. Okay, so I guess let's go ahead and do, if we were running together, what would you tell me about you? If we were running side by side, what would you say about you and your life, or whatever you wanted to share of your running journey? If you listened to that Venice Beach run last week, you would have heard me going around to everyone there, asking them a little about their adventure or their running and what they wanted to share. And we had some really inspiring stories, some really amazing things people are doing. But we all have our own journey. And so if you're new to Together Runs, what would you tell me about yourself? If you've been doing it before, you know the drill. I'm going to ask you, what updates do you have since we last talked, since we last ran together on a Together Run? What would you tell me? Just reflect on your last week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever. Let's go ahead and do that now. drifted off, gently bring yourself back. About 30 more seconds. Anything else you want to share? Okay, thank you so much for sharing. And even if you wouldn't have told me all of that because you would have got too nervous, it's okay too. You're just awakening that self-awareness in yourself, and that in itself is good. Okay, so next we are going to go on to, got 3.5 minutes, so I'll start my updates for you. And I know I'll finish on with it. I want to tell you all about the trip in detail, but first I want to say updates that I do want to share is potentially some bombshell news, but I'm not pregnant. That's always where people's minds go, right? No, it is to say Together Runs will be moving to Patreon. Not all of them. I will be keeping bi-weekly runs here on the feed as regular. But I'm recording some really freaking cool Together Runs for you this fall. Really amazing locations. I'm making sure to keep them very, very neutral in time, so there's not that pressure that we often feel with these ones where I'm talking about like my weekend or whatever. These are going to be evergreen, so you can go back to them again and again. There's going to be workouts, there's long runs, there's going to be other runs Together Runs with other people. All these really exciting things will be on Patreon, with many additional perks that many of you have been asking about, including running for real. I hate the word merch. I don't like that word. Running for real swag, running for real merchandise, whatever you want to call it. That is going to be on there. You're also I'm going to have Q&A Zoom sessions for you to ask your questions. I'm also going to have opportunities. I'm going to start doing this where I'm going to share who I'm going to be interviewing, and you can ask your questions to that person. And you know me, they can be very thoughtful. They can be the things that you've been wondering but too uncomfortable to say. I don't mind asking. If you want to keep yourself anonymous too, I can do that too. And I can just disguise it as my question. But I'm going to be we at the team are going to be ramping back up Patreon. And I know many of you are still on there, signed up, and I really, really appreciate you sticking with me. I'll be honest, the last time I posted was 2019 or 2020. That's terrible. So to those of you who have supported me this whole time, thank you so much. You will be grandfathered in a way. But I understand I did a terrible job of keeping in touch, and to be honest, I found it very overwhelming trying to keep up with that when it was just me and Jeremy. At that time when for all those years when I was using Patreon and it was just me and Jeremy. Jeremy was doing the podcast, but I felt so overwhelmed with things to keep up with. And now I have this team behind me who are amazing and have these brilliant ideas, many of which you will get to hear about on Patreon ahead of time. Have these brilliant ideas, and I can do them now. I can have someone help me with those, 2 people, 3 people help me with those. And so come to a walk if you're in the 30-minute group. And so I know that maybe you're like, oh, there she goes. And I do want to say something really important before we begin these strides. I know if you look at my social media or if you watch what's going on this fall, it's going to look like I am just living the life. I am here, there and everywhere. I am just rolling in it. But I want to just tell you, I'm not. And actually, to be honest with you, I'm nervous right now. We have people who work for Running for Real who, at this point in time with our direction shift, I'm nervous about even being able to continue giving them what they deserve financially at this point. So while, I give so much away for free, I really hope you know and see that. I hope you understand that while it may look glamorous, a lot of the things I'm doing are unpaid or, let's just say I calculated one of my trips out to being paid $6 an hour for the time I'm spending working. So, yeah, just wanted to mention that. Okay, we're going to do 2 strides. When I say we're going to do 10 to 15 seconds at about 80% of your max. And you're not trying to take big steps. You're trying to take more steps. So you ready? 3, 2, and 1. "30-minute group, come to a walk." The rest of us can keep jogging at a pace that feels right for you. We'll have 1 more minute and then we'll go on to do the rest of our run. 1 more stride and then we'll go on to do the rest of our run. Just give you 45 seconds for the next one. If you have the choice between up or down, if you don't live near any flat, I would choose up over down. Down has a much higher risk of injury. And while these are great for sneaking in speed, I don't think I would recommend it, doing this down a downhill unless you're very used to it and know how to run downhill effectively. Okay, ready? 3, 2, and 1. I'm going up a hill. A very steep hill. Okay, come to a jog or a walk. 30-minute crew. Thank you so much for joining. If you would go ahead and take a picture, I'd love that. But actually, this week, I would love even more if you just continue listening for a minute to let me finish what I was saying. So yes, we are ramping up our Patreon because we need to, and because we want to, and because we want to create as a community, but I understand as a team, but I understand that for many it's the close connection to me, which really feels weird to say, can I just add? I feel so self-centered when I say stuff like this, but it became abundantly clear when we did our survey in the fall and over 300 people replied, and it was very clear that it's not even, this feels so awkward to say, it's not even about what's offered, it's me offering it. Anyway, So we wanted a place that I could be closer to you, that we could have a conversation. And the beautiful thing about this is we will get to talk about what the together run pieces were. Those together runs, I'll be having the questions that we talked about underneath, and we can talk about it. You can say what you saw. You can share whatever you feel came up for you in that run. You could share your answer to my question, whatever it may be. So we're really creating that place where we can all communicate over that. And there's going to be various tiers or levels, because I know financially it's a lot. And one of these tiers is very low intentionally, but the others you get more access. And yeah, as I mentioned, merchandise. And even it's one option if I'm coming to a city near you to go meet up for a coffee or to have a Zoom chat, just me and you. So I'm doing some things on there because I wanted to do things that felt authentic. Here's the thing. You know me, I'm honest. I am honest with myself. I'm honest with my community. There's not going to be very many other people who are going to tell you what I was just telling you right there in the space. But I'll tell you this because, you know, I'm trying to take care of my family and I'm trying to fulfill my promise to the people I brought on. But I didn't want to take care of my family. I mean, I still would take care of the others first, but I've just sacrificed myself first. If it means working with, you know, a certain brand that feels gross to me, like who I don't align with at all, their messaging doesn't feel right, what they're doing in this world doesn't feel right. I'm not prepared to do that in exchange for money. And I have told you stories over the years of how I've turned brands down, how I turned away $800 once to write one thing about this disgusting yogurt I tried. I've told you about that, and I still feel the same, even more so now. So we had to find something that felt right to give the community and the connection that I want with you. I mean, I wouldn't be doing these runs if I didn't feel that. I mean, this is number 64, right? So I want to do this with you, and I want to connect to you, and I want to get to know you. But I had to do it in a way that felt supportive and knowing my own, what I'm bringing. So I wanted to share a little bit about that with you today, because I love giving away all I know for free. I love that. I love that I make it accessible, and I'm working on a massive project that I hope we can create as a team that will help people who need it, who come to me for amenorrhea, but we're hoping we can find a way to get it to the people without paying. We're trying to figure that out. So I know I'm being very awkward and talking about the thing that we're told we're not supposed to talk about in our society. But I don't want to hide things from you. I don't want to be that person who is kind of either saying yes to everything just to roll in the money, or who's just exploiting you and me, because I fall for it sometimes. You know, I bought these freaking hairbands once because someone I admired talked about them, and they were the worst hairbands ever, and I fell for it, and I felt exploited, and so I know how much my word means, because I am going to tell you the truth. And so these together runs moving to Patreon, all the traveling ones, all the exciting ones are going to be moving to Patreon. But I wanted to keep, the team and I discussed And we wanted to keep some on here because it is such a gift. And I want to be able to enjoy it with you. So there'll be 2 a month on here and a minimum of 2 a month, if not 3 or 4 on Patreon. Now you'll be given a login so that you can then access things on the Running For Real website that are exclusive. Got all kinds of things going into this. So I'll be telling you more about that. But I just wanted to explain what was going on and make a promise to you that this time will be different. I know I messed up before, and I'm sorry to any of you who supported me through that. And thank you for sticking by me. I hope we can take this next step together, and I'm going to be proving myself that I'm worthy of your support. So, thank you. All right, so that's a bit about that, a lot about that. Sorry. I want to tell you a bit about my trip to California. Oh yes, just one more thing on that note. So I said, yeah, it can appear like everything is together and everything is, glamorous, and I'm flying here and staying there. Now, obviously, things are never quite what they seem. And it is very stressful for Steve and I to figure out childcare. Often, some of these things I've been doing are falling on the exact same time away he is traveling. And so we have to figure out how we're going to have the kids taken care of, which is hard. And I feel guilt for leaving the kids. And yeah, like, it might look like I'm just on the up and up. And this is important because this is what Sid and I talked about, right? Did you listen to that Running For Real episode with Sid Baptista? If not, go listen to it. It's a really powerful one about failure and about appearances and what you see versus what is going on. So remember, it's not all what it seems. And to be honest, I'm way too honest. To be honest, often it's the appearance. For someone like me, it's the appearance of what you're doing that gets you other opportunities that are maybe higher paid, that are maybe going to allow you to take your foot off the gas pedal for other things. But I'm not there yet. So, yeah, just wanted to mention that. There's a lot going on. So, I did spend 5 days in LA. I did have an amazing time. I also had a very hard time. Someone I care about deeply is going through a really hard time. And that was really, really difficult. And so, yeah, I'm a very emotional, sensitive person, and it was hard for me to enjoy myself at times, like discovering this. So, and I haven't said anything, so I don't suppose any of you would be trying to guess what I'm talking about, but let's just say it's a private thing, so I won't be saying anymore. But that was really hard. And again, I don't want it to seem like this glamorous trip when, as with everything, there is good, there is bad. And there was multiple moments in there where, for example, I had an amazing day with one of my closest friends, Elizabeth. And we were just so happy, so enjoying ourselves. But at the same time, I was aware this day was coming to an end. I was going to have to say goodbye to her. And I don't know when I'll see her again. So there's always that, as I've talked about in many of these runs, there's always that good and bad going on at the same time. But that said, the All Birds event, you obviously got to hear it by now. You got to be there, and if you didn't go to do it, go do it. I mean, All Birds, just I know I'm working with them, and yes, they pay me annually, but I'm so impressed by them every time I work with them, just blown away. And this was such another good example of that. And by the way, for the women, the sports bra, if you saw me wearing this purple sports bra, oh my God, it was so comfortable and supportive. I picked it up when they gave it to me and I was like, oh God, this is like one of those like Target bras. And I put it on and I was like, wow, this is so supportive and comfortable. I wore it from 8 a.m. till 10 p.m, including going for a run in the middle, and didn't smell, and neither did the tights, by the way, matching tights. Didn't smell, wasn't uncomfortable. Oh, come to a walk, 45-minute group. Wasn't uncomfortable, wasn't smelly, didn't chafe, just amazing stuff. So I don't actually know what the name of it is, but you can probably find it. I think it's out. Now I think about it, is it even out yet? If not, it's coming, so stay tuned. But yeah, I'll be telling you more about that, but it was so comfortable. The Little Birds event was amazing. In fact, I was really nervous, to be honest. There's so many, to be honest. I was very nervous as this came together so quick that I thought, God, what if only like 3 people show up? And these 3 people are my friends who they feel obligated to go because I asked them. And so I did feel very nervous. And we did have a small group, maybe 12 to 15, I think 14 people. But you know what? It was so special and intimate. And it was a good reminder for me that I think when we're hosting things, we want it to be big. Be like, look at, oh, sorry, we forgot about the strides again. Let's do that first. 3, 2, and 1. We go. And come to a jog or a walk. Give you another 30 seconds and we'll go again, and then I'll continue my story if you want to hang around. In the meantime, if you want to go sign up for Patreon, we haven't revamped it yet, you can do that. And that lets me know you're in. You believe what we're doing. You trust in me, and I'll appreciate that so much. Okay, let's do another one. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, come to a jog or a walk. 45-minute group, thank you so much for joining. I hope to see a picture of you running. To go ahead and take a picture right now so I can see it. Really would love to see. And I hope we can start having conversations about these after the runs, especially the ones that are going to be on Patreon. They are going to be, I'm going to have specific questions, deep, thoughtful questions for us to answer. I love it when podcasts do that. And they ask this question. Sometimes you have to pause it and be like, what would I say to that? What do I think about that? Well, this is going to give you the space to think about that in real time. And so we want to discuss it afterwards on the platform. But in the meantime, thank you for joining. If you want to listen, I'm going to finish off my trail of thought and then we'll switch topics. Okay, so, what was I even saying now? All birds. I think, or maybe I'm repeating myself, but for someone like me, or whenever we're gathering, we want to feel like, look at me with all my friends, I'm so popular. And maybe that's me from my past, like wanting to show I had friends for some reason. I don't know. But I still have these, like, immature perspectives sometimes that, like, people won't think I'm good enough unless I have a massive group. But the reality is, when you have a big group, you can't really get to talk to anyone or get to know anyone because you don't get enough time with them. So the groups small like this actually really special because we got to really connect and intermingle, and I got to hear the stories of people, of everyone there, and that made it very special. And so I need to keep reminding myself that, even for Allbirds, like, they were over the moon with how it went. And it's just my own being hard on myself that makes me feel like 15 isn't enough, that they want 600. But if I can be true to myself, I don't like 600. It's too overwhelming. I like small groups where I can talk to people. So, yeah, still learning that lesson, still messing that lesson up. But it is what it is. And I want to share one more revelation that I had. And I mentioned this in my email about how I went to this vegan potluck, and I was invited to it by this guy who's like his house plants are like his thing. He's also on a Netflix show called Instant Dream Home. If any of you watch that, Nick Cutstumpers invited me. And when we were there, there was all these like, oh, I'm on this Netflix show, and oh, I have a New York Times bestseller. And it wasn't like people were like, oh, hi, I'm six-time bestseller of. No, it wasn't that at all. Literally the opposite. But it makes you feel like, wow, what I'm doing is like nothing. And so the next day I spoke to Nick and I said, that was really amazing, thank you so much. And we were talking about other things, but at the beginning I wanted to make sure I said that because, I wanted to make sure he knew how, good it felt to be welcomed. And he said to me, Tina, you deserve to be there. You are one of those people. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, no, I mean it. Like, you are one of those people. You deserve to be there. And just because I hadn't done the things that they have done, it made me feel less than. But I realized that the more I surround myself with people who are going to red carpet events, who are being flown around the world to speak to the UK government, who are, doing these TED Talks that have multiple million views, the easier it is for me to be like, God, what I'm doing is nothing. Look at what they're doing. And by my age, like Ryan Holiday, he's the same age as me, and look at what he's done. And maybe some of you feel that about me. I'd imagine some of you do. But the reality is, yes, people can inspire us to be better. And if you read my email, you would see that there was this beautiful moment of vulnerability and humility from these people where I got to hear each of them sharing what they're struggling with, like really struggling with, what they could use help with. And it was so beautifully done. But no, we're not always going to get that. What we are always going to get to see is the good moments. But the more we share, morning, the more we share those, what am I trying to say? The more we surround ourselves with those people, the more we're going to see this. But I want to be one of those people who hopefully shows you, and I have today, that it's not all what it seems. And that while these people can inspire you, at the end of the day, they're just humans with the same insecurities. And while, I mentioned about the Netflix show, the people who are on the Netflix show might be like, oh, I wish my Netflix show was a top 10 Netflix show, or I wish I had a movie. So, yeah, just that reminder, I hope, that wherever we are, there's always going to be people around us, if we want to grow to be better, who make us feel like we're doing nothing compared to them. But you're not. For what resources you have in your life and what tools you've been given, you are doing perfectly enough for you. So just keep that in mind. One final thing. Oh, I'm going to be a bit long. I'm too far away from my house. Whoops. One final thing I want to share. You may have seen this on my social media. There's a really funny picture of me that one of my friends, Natalie Mitchell, who you got to hear from here on the podcast, and if you didn't, go listen to it. We finally got to meet after 10 years, and that was amazing. We've known each other for 10 years now, and yeah, it's really cool to meet her. She happened to snap a photo of me seeing, when I was 2 to 5, I lived in Indiana. Yeah, Indiana in the US. My dad he worked for Ford, and he was setting up a plant here in Indiana. So we lived in Bloomington, Indiana for 3 years. And we left, and we had lots of good friends there. There was these 2 boys next door to us we were very close to. The older boy, Ben, was like my first, if you want to call it, boyfriend, age 2 to 5. We were together every day. He really ignited my competitive spirit. Like, I would race him, and Betsy, the mum, confirmed this. I'd race him, I was always running around, I was like chasing him. Hadn't seen him since they had come to visit us in England. I don't know, a few years later, hadn't seen them. So 25 years at least. And Betsy happened to be visiting Andrew and Ben, who lived in LA, the weekend I was there. And they happened to go for a walk down Abbot Kinney Boulevard. And they happened to look in the window of Allbirds, or Betsy did, and she knew I worked for Allbirds and with Allbirds, and she happened to see a woman in the window and recognize it was me. And so 25 years later, there they were in front of me, and I couldn't believe it. You'll see the look on my face, just like total disbelief. And so I had, and thankfully we all had enough space in our day to have lunch together and talk. And it was just the most beautiful, amazing thing. So, such a small world, isn't it? All right, let's do a stride. You ready? 3, 2, and 1. We go. Oh, the steepest part of the hill. Come to a jog. If you can run 60 minutes, you can keep running in between 2 strides. Whew. Catching my breath after this hill. Still going. So when I'm saying catching my breath, still going uphill. Okay, ready? Last stride. 3, 2, and 1. come to a jog. We've got 30 seconds, and then we can come to a walk. Whew. Wow, I've actually been running pretty fast for a together run and for a day after a workout. No wonder I feel tired. I'm not going to say the amount. Just come to a walk. I'm not going to say the amount because, running is relative. Thank you for joining me. I invite you to connect in with some element of nature. I'm going to touch this spider plant looking thing that's not a spider plant. And I want to thank you for joining me today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for trusting in me and believing in me. For sending your pictures. Really love it. And there'll be one more together run coming next Monday before we start shifting. So if you want to go ahead and join Patreon now, that would really be helpful. If you want to hold off and wait and see, that's understandable too. I appreciate you, and I'll see you next week.